What up, bitches? This is Cancer Smiles and Sarcasm. Hope I didn't just offend you. That's what I say to my nearest and dearest friends. That's how I call them. And if you're a nearest and dearest friend to me, you are not easily offended. All right. But, anyways, yeah, it's a term of love and you can take it any way you want, but it's for everyone, that term of endearment. So, today I come to you with my choice of drink being a lemon drop. And because it's, starting the end of the day. And we are going to talk today about the initial phase of cancer. So I'm hoping that we get some guests coming on here, but I'm just going to start with me, and then there are lots of questions that you might ask, and there's several websites and stuff that go through that. So we might chat on that. Hopefully, we'll get some listeners. Um. So yeah, today's a beautiful day in Colorado. We got about 65 degrees. The sun is shining as usual. The average amount of sun in Colorado is about 300 days. So, yeah, and I live in western Colorado where it's beautiful. We don't have a lot of pollution, and you can actually see the stars at night. So, my initial phase, I was sitting in the mirror, and I hope, this isn't too repetitive for some of you, but I was standing in the mirror looking at myself and noticed a bruise or something on my right breast. And like, what is that? Felt around, kind of felt uncomfortable, maybe a little bit hard. So I called my doctor. I literally just started a brand new job. I started August 21st, and I think this was August 22nd. So, yeah, as for some of you know, you're going to find a theme here. I was out drinking and paddleboarding, and unfortunately fell off my paddleboard a couple times. So, yeah. So, anyways, I was like, well, maybe it's just a bruise. But better safe than sorry. At that point, I had never had a mammogram, and I was 46 years old. So I, sorry, maybe I'm having a hard time catching my breath today. Okay, hopefully my oxygen is on. So, anyways, I went to the doctor for the initial mammogram. And oh no, sorry, I'm sorry. I went to the doctor for the initial checkup. And then she felt around my breast. She said, yeah, I can feel something. Doesn't feel like a lump to me, but better safe than sorry. You go in for a mammogram. So I went in for the mammogram. Uh, that person saw a lump. They said, okay, wait here in this room. And we're going to get the radiologist and we're going to do um, a ultrasound. Yeah, ultrasound on you. So the mammogram, oh my god, if you haven't had one, and for any guy out there, you need to know what we go through, okay? You have to have your you have to lean up and have your boob squished into this plastic thing. I mean, it's crazy. I'm telling you, it doesn't even make sense. With where we are at in life with technology, it makes no sense if this is how it's done. Anyways, they squeeze your boob in, and if you have small boobs, it's probably I would guess it's probably less pleasant. I don't know because it's just really hard. So, anyways, they squeeze your boobs in, okay. Then the ultrasound is no big deal. It's just some cold jelly, and then the thing that rubs around you, a little bit of noise, and it's like, when people have babies, they can kinda see, and you can see all the blood moving, all the things. So, I did the ultrasound, and then the radiologist asked me something, I can't remember, and I felt it at that moment. I was like, "This shit isn't good," and, he had somebody in there studying to be, whatever, a student in there, and they just looked at each other, and I was thinking to myself, "Gosh, this is not good." So, yeah, so he told me that I had cancer at that moment, and he said, "I normally don't tell people this, but it's clearly cancer. Like, this is not my job. This is for your doctors to tell you, but it's clearly cancer." And the way he knew that was because there was a big black spot that had been spidering. It was totally spidered out. So, like, that it was kind of like a potato, and you know how it gets those what are they called, eyes or whatever, and then it just starts going out, and then just like little roots come out from out of it. Yeah, guess I don't empty my kitchen cupboards enough. Ah, you caught me. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of what it was like. It was just these like, or maybe like a snowflake. Maybe that's a better way to describe it. Yeah, a center and all these things spread it out. And I said, okay. And I was in shock, right? I think we all would be. And so I just sat there and my tears started coming, and he said, "Okay, well, are you here with somebody? Do you, are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not here with anybody. I'm here with myself." And yeah, so he's like, "Well, is there somebody we can call for you?" Nope. And they just kind of looked at me sad, and on my way, I went, "Hmm, okay, no next steps, no nothing. Just okay, the doctors will call you. So they'll call you with the results." So then I'm sitting there waiting, 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 well, but first let me tell you. First I went out to my car, cried a lot, called my husband, called my mom, and then I think I called one of my great friends, Alana, and then yeah, I called my boss. And oh, I will also tell you I'm a lawyer, and I will also tell you that shit was hitting the fan on one of my cases. And so so my paralegal was texting me and she's like, "Oh yeah, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on." And she was still in training and things were getting fucked up. So I called her really quick and I said, "Hey, you need to do this, 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 and this, and the rest of it you need to wait for me." And she said, "Well, okay, well, are you coming in?" And I said, "No, I just found out I had cancer. And yeah, I gotta handle this." So yeah, so when I talked to my boss, she's like, "You can just go home, no problem." So I went home, opened a beer, and screamed, cried, texted everyone I knew pretty much, so that were all my friends, and told them. And everyone responded, "You're strong. You'll get through this. No problem. You got this. You can handle this. I'm so sorry." And and then I just sat there. It was in the evening, and I'm like, I don't even know what I do next. What's going on? So yeah, so my friend, his dad has a dad who's or his dad is an oncologist, sorry. And so he was like, "You can contact my dad if you had any questions." And so, I did because like it was the very first moment. And I did have questions. You want to talk to a doctor, you want to know what the fuck is going on. At that time, I will tell you, my insurance was a little bit sketch. And so I didn't know what was going on with that. 'Cause I hadn't used it, I was using for so many years, I was in my own private practice, and so for so many years, I was using my own insurance, and I hadn't yet used my insurance through work or anything. I was paying through Applebee's or Applebee's, so I don't know, Appleton, some kind of thing that you pay $100 a month to because you don't have insurance. And so I was dealing with that. So that was just like running through my head. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? We did have some alternative insurance also that was kind of like Aflac. So, and it was meant for cancer, which was turned out to be good. So, anyways, yeah, I just texted the oncologist just for some words of wisdom. And he said, just hold on. It's okay. You'll be in contact with somebody, and there's no need to panic. There's nothing you can do today. You just need to, chill out. So, easier said than done. And, he probably didn't use those words because he's a lot more empathetic and, you know, and verbal than that. But yeah, so I just drank and screamed and I hugged my husband and sat on the couch overlooking the Colorado River. And yeah, and that was it. So I do have a guest with me. Woohoo. If you're interested in talking to us, then just send me a little message and I will get back with you. So, yeah, so I learned that way. Then I had to go in for a biopsy. I went to a biopsy. My husband went with to that with me and was actually able to sit in the room. For those of you wondering, it was pretty horrible. I have really dense breast, so for me, it was maybe even more horrible. But they take what my husband described now as a very, very long needle that is very, very thick, and they poke it in. I mean, first, of course, they give you're still awake though. So they do give you all the stuff to make it so you're supposed to be numb. Well, I wasn't numb. And I said, I can feel this. What's going on? And he said, you can still feel it. So let me give you some more. And then he gives me some more. He's talking me through every single thing, by the way, which I absolutely hated. I was just like, man, get the fuck in, get the fuck out. Do what you need to do. I don't want to hear what you're doing. I want you to go fast. I want you to be done. I want you to get out of me. And he had to put some more lidocaine in me. That did not work. He said, okay, well, that's all the meds I can give you. So do you want to continue? And I said, yes, I need to continue. I need you to be done. I'm not coming back for this. That's that's for sure. And so, yeah, like, just get this shit done. And yeah, so he did and finished her up, walked out. I was sore for probably a week after that. And that's when I felt like my cancer started growing. And who knows? Was that a mental thing? Was that true? Anyways, I waited a couple days for the biopsy. At that time, I was waiting for the private doctor that I had been paying. I was waiting for him to call me, and so I'm making calls. I'm calling everyone. I'm calling the oncology department at the hospital. I'm calling everyone. Hey, I have cancer. I have cancer. I need to get into an oncologist. Do you have a referral? I'm like, no, I don't need a referral. I have fucking cancer. I've already been told. Well, the referral is the cancer tumor in my breast. Okay. So, yeah, so it was a pain in the ass and no real guidance. I waited on the results from the biopsy. It came back from this guy who talked way too much every single moment. It took days. Every single moment I was looking at my phone. He waited until, oh, I first of all, I had to go through a weekend also. So he waited until the very last moment, until the end of the business day, right before it, and called me and told me, it doesn't look too good, but it's the most common type of breast cancer. So there's that. And yeah, and that was about it. And pretty soon you'll get your printed results and then you'll be in touch with oncologists who can walk you through the next steps. So that's really what it looks like in a nutshell. And I could tell you that that time frame is just about a week long. And you at that moment want to do everything, right? Everything to get this cancer out of you. And then you feel it like it's like when you're in the forest and you feel mosquitoes biting you, but then you look and there are no mosquitoes. It's like that's what happens. You feel it. You feel it inside of you and you just want to make it go away. So you start flipping your shit and you just can't handle it. So you want to contact everyone. You want to tell everyone. You want to cry. You want to scream. You're so mad. You're so, what the fuck happened? Why did this happen to me? Right? Am I really a negative Nancy? Because I used to think that only negative Nancy's got cancer. So why did this happen to me? And and it's interesting because then I ended up going, not only did I go to an oncologist, but I immediately started conferring with reconstructive surgeons because I wanted to like get this thing out and then I'm gonna be flat. I'm gonna get a mastectomy. And what does that look like? And I need to know who the doctors are. And one of the surgeons said, I just want you to know. And at that time, when I swear to God, when I went to the surgeon, I had never even seen my oncologist yet. So we're now at like 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And I had not even seen an oncologist yet. So I'm still living in fucking limbo. It is fucking ridiculous, right? And I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking for. I could be Googling it and I find all these things, but who knows? I have a breast cancer is so crazy. There's all these different kinds of breast cancer. You don't know what stage you're at. You don't know anything. So you're just freaking the fuck out. And I went to the surgeon and she just said, I want to tell you that cancer is not for the negative Nancy's. I never even asked. It was just something she said, and I just thought that was crazy. I thought that was so interesting because that's what I always used to say, like, "That person's gonna get cancer because 'cause they're just a negative Nancy." And, they're just always complaining and bitching about everything, you know? And, why don't you say 2 positives for every negative? Just try that out. Try that out for a minute. And so, yeah, so that was it was comforting. It was comforting because I think one of the first things you go through, and what I'm going through now too, again, is some guilt. What did I do to cause this? And I want to flash back to the moment that I got my mammogram. They put me into a room, a little tiny closet, basically, sat me down and had me waiting. And I swear to God, it was a fucking closet with a stool on it, and it had some flyers in there, and it said, "Alcohol can cause breast cancer." And, oh, let me just sit with that for a minute because I'm not lying about this, right? I'm here to tell you the real story because, who knows? I'm only alive for a few more years, but really at this point, I don't haven't kept many secrets most of my life anyways. But, like I want to tell you the real story because once you get the real story, you know, then maybe you'll feel okay to tell the real story. Maybe you'll feel interested in, like, if this is what Tammy did, maybe I should do something different. I don't know. Whatever it gives to you, I'm going to tell it the right way. So I was sitting there with a lot of guilt because I had been drinking since I was like 12, 13 years old. And I started drinking really, really hard. In my teen years, I was drinking pretty hard. And so, that kind of madness continued. I eventually learned how to control it and was doing good. I'm not a functioning alcoholic. I would say I'm an alcoholic, but I'm not like an active alcoholic. I would say that I do drink, in the evenings and I can go without drinking. That's what everyone says, but I really can. So, yeah, but so you have a lot of guilt and you don't want to blame yourself. And I think one of the best things that I could have done at that moment, because that's what I want to talk to you about too, is the words of wisdom. One of the best things I could have done at that moment is probably reached out to a therapist. Because they have therapists online. They're actually it's really pretty actually easy to get into therapy. And when you go to therapy, it's not like you don't have to be in therapy, right? You're there for a reason. You're there by choice. And well, hopefully you're at therapy. I mean, there are other things happening. But you can just go there and just fucking spill the beans, right? Anything you wanna talk about, they have to listen to. Anything you wanna cry about, they have to listen to. You wanna scream, they get to listen to you. I mean, there are some rules, right? But it's confidential. If you tell them you killed somebody, they have to listen to you, and they're not gonna tell anyone. If you tell them you're gonna kill somebody, that's a different story. If you tell them you're gonna kill yourself, that's a different story. I don't know why it is. I don't know why it's anyone else's business if I'm gonna kill myself. And the first person I should be talking to is my therapist. So I don't know why he or she is gonna have somebody else get all up in my business if I do want to kill myself. But whatever, different story, different topic for a different day. Unless somebody wants to talk about it now. And I haven't seen anyone raising their hands. So yeah. But get into therapy, right? You might not have doctors, but nobody wants to like they say they wanna talk with you, they say they wanna cry with you, they say they wanna be a shoulder to cry on, and, some of it probably mean it most of the time, but do they have the time? And no, and they're out working, and they're living their lives, and they don't know what the fuck to say. That's probably the hardest thing for them. So, I wanna talk about that, what do you go through? What do you, as somebody without cancer, go through when you hear this news from me? And so yeah, so I would say get a therapist. I didn't do that. I didn't do that until much later. And that therapist is just there to just help you de-stress, just calm down, and I think that's what you need to do. You need to calm down. And as easy as that is to say, it's super hard to do. But like nobody's in a rush, right? They're taking their weekends. They're taking their evenings at home with their family, and so you have to know that. And they know that the cancer isn't gonna get much worse in the little time that you're sitting there waiting, which feels like a million years to you, but it's not a million years to them, right? And they know that, hey, she can live a few more weeks with this cancer, and even if she's gonna get surgery or, start on treatment, she can live a few more weeks. Yeah, I will tell you that my cancer did grow. I ended up having my double mastectomy in October. And so August 23rd to October 24th, I believe it was. So 2 months. And in that time, they found more tumors and my tumor had grown. And I can't remember how much it was. I want to say it was about at least a quarter of an inch. So that tells you, I mean, for me, my cancer turns out to be aggressive. All right. So people want to know all the time. They ask me, and this would happen when I called people. I called my brother, I called my mom, and they said, "What stage is it? How long do you have to live?" You don't get to know that. Okay. You only get to know that after the surgery, right? So the biopsy will tell you the basics of the surgery, right? It will tell you, I mean, not the surgery of your tumor. It will tell you what kind of cancer you have and like lay it all out for you. So, like in my case, it was estrogen positive, progesterone positive breast cancer, hers 2 negative. Okay. At the same time, I also got genetic tests somewhere in that first 2 months. I got a genetic test. Then I found out that I don't have any abnormal genes. So I don't have the BRCA gene, which is one of the breast cancer genes. So it doesn't run in my family. No one else in my family had breast cancer. So yeah, so sorry, I lost track. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I just totally like I really don't feel like my oxygen's working or something. But yeah, so you don't learn a lot. So you learn in the biopsy, you don't learn a lot. You learn just the basics, right? And then you have to go to your oncologist. That oncologist, well, maybe you have a different oncologist than me, but my oncologist was pretty much like, "Well, it's just going to talk about this right here, what we know, and then we're going to move on. We'll talk about the next thing later." And I was like, "That's bullshit. I want to talk about all of it right now. I want to know from this moment until the day I die, pretty much is what I wanted to know, right? Like, tell me everything." And she really wasn't there. She wasn't having that. She had a different bedside manner than I would have liked. And, I think maybe she was trying to have me slow the roll, but I didn't want to, right? I wanted everything. And I didn't get that. So, I reached out to a friend's dad and just got a little bit more, maybe that made me feel a little more comfortable. But it's not until that the tumor is removed. They go in and do the surgery, the tumor is removed, and then they find out, they take it out, and then they go and do their studies, and then they find out, hey, okay, based on the size of the tumors, whatever, the pathology of the tumor, and the fact that I had lymph nodes, they removed 12 lymph nodes. So they didn't know, we couldn't feel them in my lymph nodes, but they the doctor like put some shit in you and it lights up green in your lymph nodes if there's cancer in there. So she had to remove all the green lymph nodes, which ended up being 12, and 8 of them had cancer. So based on all of that, and primarily, I believe the reason being that I had cancer in the lymph nodes, it was stage 3 cancer. So it wasn't just in my breast, which put it at the stage 3. Okay. Following that. So yeah, that is it in a nutshell. And I want to just touch back because that was my stage 3 diagnosis. So it was August 2023. And then I just want to touch back and I'm going to put myself in a different set of shoes because my husband isn't here right now. And we're not having anyone who's interested in joining or talking, it looks like. So my husband had throat cancer. And how did he know? So we were in Mexico and he was struggling having a sore throat. And he started feeling this lump in his throat. And there was a whole bunch of sick kids around and everything. And so, he kept on feeling this lump, and I was like, "What the hell?" And so and at that time, then he ended up getting sick, right? The lump started getting worse, and then months went by, and he was like, "There's something not right with me. I don't feel right. I think there's something going on." Hello, we got another joiner. I just want to let you know if you have cancer and you want to jump in here and tell me, how did you know you had cancer? What was your initial freak out like? And words of wisdom to newcomers, please just send me a chat and I'll hook you up and let you enter the room. So, for my husband, yeah, and then he just started Googling it, as it kept on getting bigger, he kept on feeling it, wasn't feeling right. And he's like, I think it's cancer. And so, yeah, sure as shit, he went to his doctor. They sent him over to an ear, nose, and throat. That guy put a scope down his throat and said, "Yeah, it's cancer. It's from HPV." And anyone who knows HPV, it's a human papillomavirus. And apparently there's like 500 strands of it. And don't quote me on this because I'm not an expert, but apparently there's like somewhere around 500 strands of it. And he had one of them, and his immune system, typically all of our immune systems fight it off, right? But sometimes they don't, and so it will just flare up. And in his case, that particular strain of HPV caused him throat cancer. So, what did he do when he figured out he had cancer? Well, I can just tell you, it was December of 2023. So it was just a few months right after mine, and I was going through chemo and radiation at that time. And I think he probably would have freaked out a lot more if we weren't already going through what we were going through with me. But yeah, he talked to the ENT specialist who said, "I'll do surgery." And then he went to the oncologist, and the oncologist said, "Hey, let you talk to the radiologist. You can do surgery and chemo and radiation. You can just do surgery. You can just do chemo and radiation." And then he went and met with the radiologist. He kind of connected with the radiologist, I feel like. And so he ended up choosing the chemotherapy and radiation route, did not do the surgery route. He made that choice pretty quick. And after he went through it all, he went through chemo and radiation. He lost about 75 pounds. He was on a feeding tube, and he's still not the same. Will he ever be the same? Probably not. I don't think so. Like, that's a lot to recover from. He's still skinny, he still struggles with his saliva, taste, things like that. But I mean, he's doing great. Like, he's quote unquote normal, the new normal, right? We all have a new normal after cancer. And so, yeah, I think if he were here to give you some words of wisdom, he too would say, do a little more research. Don't flip out so much. Slow your roll again, and just go and talk to somebody, maybe even get another opinion with another surgeon, another radiologist, and then talk more about what would that have looked like, because now I think he thinks maybe I could have just done the surgery, and then he wouldn't have such a physical impact on his body. So, you know, that would be his words of wisdom. He also thinks that it was good, as positive thing that we both got cancer because now we understood what each other was going through. And I would say, from an outsider, when he got diagnosed with cancer, it was extremely hard for me because I already knew how scared you get. And that fear is something you cannot fucking describe. It is like worse than, I don't know, watching the scariest movie you've ever been. No, that's not even good enough. Going to the scariest corn maze and knowing that there is some motherfucker with like a chainsaw or something that's gonna jump out and scare you, and you just can't find him, and it's just this constant fear. It's this constant, oh my god, it's bad, it's bad. And so, for me, I was, I knew the word, I knew what to say. I don't know if I said it, but I said, "I love you." I didn't say, "You're strong enough, you got that. You got this, I don't think." I said, we've been here before and we're gonna get through this." But also, I wanted to recognize that no matter how strong you are, that's a lot to get, right? And you don't even know what you're trying to get. You're trying to catch butterflies, you're trying to catch a rainbow, and you're just trying and grasping at it and grasping at it, and you don't even know what the fuck you're grasping at. Like it's light. It's not even feasible. It is just an amazing feeling. And I knew that for my husband. And I sat there morning after morning just crying, knowing that he was scared because that's what happens. And then, my dad got diagnosed with lung cancer, and I had the exact same feeling for him. But my dad had been sicker for a long time. He had COPD and AFib. But I still felt the same, like, I felt so much fear, and I imagine too that that's what my friends are feeling. I haven't asked them, and, as we go through this, my friends and other people are gonna jump on and tell us what they're feeling, but, I think we all fear something, right? As spouses, as family members, as friends, we fear the unknown for them, right? And what is gonna happen to what is gonna happen to my daughter? What's gonna happen to my husband? What's gonna happen to my friend, Shit, what's gonna happen to my coworker? Fuck, we got this case we've been working on together, and now I'm gonna have to do it all? Are you kidding me? Like, hey, sorry about your luck, but can we please get back to work now? Um, so really, I mean, everyone's impacted by it, right? To a different level. My the people I supervise, they were impacted by it, right? And I think we have to be cognizant of that. So, who's getting infected by this? Everyone, right? And when you freak the fuck out on the dude sitting next to you in the bus because you're having a bad day, because you feel like shit and you're scared and you're tired and you're going to all these medical appointments, guess what? He's impacted too. And maybe he's sitting there dealing with cancer, or maybe his mom's dealing with cancer. I'm pretty sure he knows somebody who's dealing with cancer. So it's just this all encompassing bullshit that everyone's going through. So yeah, my husband never went to a counselor, and I wish he would now, even still today. I wish he would go to a counselor or a therapist. And so, and when I also want to say to those newcomers, every oncology department has some sort of support for you, right? So talk to people, right? They're going to ask you all these questions when you go in. Every time you go in, you get asked the same questions. Are you in any pain? Are you shitting a lot? Are you, shitting your drawers, or just going to the bathroom a lot? Or are you constipated? Are you both? Or, you know, are you crying a lot? Like, what's your stress level? What's your anxiety level? How are you eating? They ask you all these questions. And so you have to answer those questions all the time. Yes, I'm so sorry. And then tell them, just tell them that you're feeling anxiety. And they have social workers. So right now I am seeing a clinical social worker. He's a therapist, really. And so he just listens to me cry or listens to me talk. And then I started going to groups. And, what you get from group is what you bring to group, or what you want from group, right? So if you want to talk in group, or if you just want to listen to the people talking in group, that's okay. My group in particular has people with all different kinds of cancers, and they're in all different stages. One of 'em, like, in particular, recently, like, a person who was in remission for several years, another person who is just newly in remission, and then me. So somebody who's dying of it. So, and maybe you live in a bigger town where you can pick the support groups that you go to. But, then there's also like there's somebody around you who's had cancer before. So get on the phone, get in contact with them and talk to them. Hey, you've been here before. What did you do? What are your words of wisdom? What can you tell me right now? And feel that feeling of feeling not alone. Right? And so for my husband, that feeling of not being alone in his cancer journey was a positive thing. And, just going through it and knowing that somebody else felt what he felt, that he didn't have to be embarrassed by it, that 'cause he was embarrassed. When people would come over, he didn't wanna see them because he had lost so much weight, and he looked so sick, and he was embarrassed by that, and he didn't have the energy to talk to people about it. He didn't wanna talk to people about it. So, he pretty much stayed at home, and, I'm the opposite, right? I'm this I wanna talk about it all the time. So, I walk around, "Tell the world you have fucking breast cancer. Yeah, bitches, my boobs are falling off," like, "Oh my god." Like, but that's just who I am, right? Because that's how I cope. That's my coping mechanism, and some people are completely opposite. And so when you're talking to somebody who just got cancer, is in the initial stages of that, recognize that too, even ask them, "Hey, do you want to talk about this?" You know, because I eventually didn't want to talk about that. I wanted to talk about everything else, right? I still live my normal life, right? I still went to work. I took some time off for surgeries and stuff, and sometimes I just didn't feel well, and so I'd have to go home but I still worked my regular life, and I wasn't communicating with anyone. At that time, like, I kinda I went off and on with counseling, and so, you know you just gotta figure it out, and so does work make you feel better? Does work help you cope? For me, it did. For my husband, he wasn't able to work, right? And how much that impacted him not being able to do that. Also, I think not seeing that I wasn't impacted that way, so how did that impact him? It's just this crazy, crazy thing. There's so much going on. There's so much to think about. And then he's losing income, so what does that look like for him? And so for me, eventually, I made my therapist cry at one point, and I just said, I don't want that therapist anymore. So I stopped going to therapy, and like now I had to see a different one. But when you first get it, reach out, find out your resources and figure out what resources work for you. And is work kind of a resource? Are your coworkers a resource? Because then you can start talking about work and you can talk about, this or that. And if you're a parent, start hanging out with other parents and just sitting around shooting the shit about your kids. And you don't have to talk about your cancer if you don't want to, right? And maybe they want to hear about it. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't even know what to say. So everyone's thinking about it, right? Because it's the elephant in the room. So how are you gonna cope with that? How are they coping with that? And yeah, so that's my gist, man. And I just wish that somebody would chime in here. Yeah. I know I've invited a lot of people to this live chat room. I really want it to be kind of more of a support group in the sense that we would stay on topic and just kind of share our journeys. All right, so I do have somebody coming in, and I'm going to let them in, and we're going to hear what they have to say. All right, let me get invite in. Here you go. Hello, how are you?
Hey, Tammy, it's Shannon.
Oh, hey, Shannon, how are you?
Good. Trying to figure out how to use this whole thing.
Oh, you must have came up with your code name real quickly.
I just signed in and that's what popped up. I just
It comes
like,
up as ENWPDATB, and I was
I,
like, I'm talking to Enwabadabadatu. But
yeah. Well, so yeah, just learning how to figure out like all of this new fancy technology, even though I don't consider myself like an old person that can't figure this stuff out.
yeah, but it's new. I'm still figuring out this podcast stuff too. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so cancer, you know about cancer.
Cancer sucks.
Yeah, cancer sucks. Fuck
You
cancer.
know? Yeah. And
So how did you find out that you had cancer?
oh, well, for like I felt my lump myself.
She has breast
Getting,
cancer, by the way, for our
yes,
listeners.
breast cancer. I was getting ready for work one morning and I'm like, I was itching right there. And I was like, wait a second, that doesn't feel right. Still took me a couple weeks to schedule a mammogram just because, it's like not in denial, but just busy. Finally got that done and I could just tell I knew you can see their faces, right? They don't say anything, but
Yeah.
and went in. That was on a Friday. Yes, on a Friday, and then on that Monday they had me come in for the emergency biopsy kind of thing. Quick, get this done. again, pretty much knew based on what they weren't saying. I'd had a biopsy previously, several, about a decade ago, and then the waiting for the results to pop up on the portal, and
Yeah.
I was standing at my desk at work all alone about 10 to 5 in the evening, and up it popped, and I thought, "Do I open this? Do I not?" And I did. Yeah, it was just as you said, the scariest time.
Yeah. It is crazy. And so
Mm.
then, at that time, did you have an oncologist or what was going on there?
No, they had called earlier in the day just to schedule a follow-up with the, like, oncology surgeon,
Okay.
and I asked, "Well, do you have my results?" And, "No, no, we're just told to schedule with you." I'm like, "Okay." So I did meet with her first before I met with the oncologist, and it was lucky that same week they had a cancellation at oncology, and I was able to get right in. So within a week of the biopsy, and I had, had the or a week of my mammogram, I had biopsy and all of that. Met with the
Oh, wow.
oncologist and had a plan. Yeah, it was super quick. I got
That
pretty
was
lucky, I
great.
guess, with that. Yeah.
And
And
the
then I
weird thing
asked.
is that you talk to the surgeon before you talk to the oncologist, right? So you don't really even know
Mhm.
what the fuck's going on, but you're
Right.
talking to a surgeon to remove it.
Yeah. Well,
But nobody's
and
really told you what it is.
right. I'm HER2 positive, so it was chemo first for me before
Okay.
surgery. So, and interestingly enough, our journey started about almost exactly a year apart. I think my mammogram was August 23rd of 24, and final, like, the official diagnosis was on the 27th.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, did the whole, 6 rounds of chemotherapy, had surgery. There was still a significant amount of cancer left at surgery, and they also found it in my lymph nodes. Just one of the 2 that they took out, actually. So
Okay.
then radiation, and then a targeted chemotherapy for 14 cycles, which, like I said, I just completed that in December.
Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
So so you were stage 2 then? Or
Yes.
stage
Yes,
Okay.
stage 2.
Okay. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I really don't even know. Like we were talking to somebody in support group and like they don't like some cancers don't really have stages, right? So I
Yeah.
guess, and you but you don't get like, oh my God, it's not this thing like where you see on the movies. It's not this
Yeah.
whole like, hello, you have cancer and I anticipate you have 2 months to live. Like,
Definitely, like, not like that. As a matter of fact, when we asked what stage, she's like, "Well, I have an app that I can calculate that for you." And it was a bit bizarre.
oh gosh, that's funny. Yeah.
Like, yeah, but I don't know.
Oh my
The
gosh.
whole
Yeah,
thing is
here's
just
an app.
wicked.
Okay. Like, oh my God. I mean, some of this shit, it's just crazy, right? So since I've had this, I've learned that there are websites out there, no, I didn't think about it, right? But one thing that I was also thinking about was like, probably should have had someone come to every single medical appointment, right? Because you're
Mm,
overwhelmed and you just can't like hear what the fuck they're saying because you're just
no.
thinking so much.
Have somebody
Uh,
come with you and, like, record it with those apps that you have the dictation on there so that you can go back and revisit it.
Yes. Yes, I think so too, like, that is huge, because I think I was, like, really, like maybe I was informed, but I felt uninformed because it was just too much for me to process, you
It's a
know?
lot. It is.
Yeah, it's
It's a
uh,
lot. Yep, taking notes, all of that. It's there's a
and
lot
did
that
you
you're
get
gonna
second
forget.
opinions?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
No, but
and then
I
y
trusted that the doctors were on top of it, and they're like, "It's just this here's the standard of care."
okay,
So yeah, just
and then you after that, did you have a double mastectomy?
yes.
Okay,
Yep. I,
eh,
was like, "These bitches are trying to kill me, they gotta go."
hell to the yeah, 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 and so looking at it now, because we always say hindsight is 2020, right?
Mhm.
That initial phase, is there anything that you would have done differently that words of wisdom you can give to like
Mm.
your supports to people coming in, like
Well, I think especially like what we were just saying is making sure you have somebody with you at those appointments and
Mhm.
record them so you can go back and revisit what they said. Because did you hear that right? Word in other words of wisdom, man, it's so difficult because it's just I don't know. It's there's so much to it. Your head is spinning and it's as I've said before, it's the greatest mind fuck ever being
Yeah.
diagnosed. Especially, I was in my 40s as well when I was diagnosed, and it's like, man, I'm too young for this.
Yeah. And you can think of a mind fuck, like, in a positive way, but I can promise you this, that was not one positive mind fuck. No,
No.
it was like getting raped instead of like yeah,
Nobody bought me a drink first.
yeah, exactly. Or before or after. Yeah,
Right.
it's yeah. Yeah, it's some crazy shit. Also have somebody else online, an eye doc. If you have cancer and you wanna tell a story, you can just chime in here, just send me a message that you wanna join in. Yeah, so thanks, Shannon, that's great.
Yeah.
It's great to hear you, and I'm glad you just chimed in here. Yeah, yeah, it's just a crazy disease, and like we were saying, maybe, if you stepped up, and said on a bus, "Hey, I have cancer. Who else here has cancer? Or who else is dealing with cancer?" I imagine probably a good majority of the people would raise their hand or stand up, you know?
Yeah, it's more than we would think even.
Yeah.
It's all over, it seems like.
And what do you think that as your friends or supports, those friends or supports out there, what do you think, what words of wisdom could you give to them?
Um, I would say don't just say, "Let me know if I can do anything for you," because, well, I'm not gonna just say, "Hey, will you go do this for me or that for me," but just be there for that person and just, comfort them or say, "Hey, I'm bringing you dinner tonight or tomorrow night," or whatever, and not just rely on that person to reach back out to you with, "Here's what I would like," because
Yeah.
yeah, most people don't. We don't wanna be burdened.
Exactly, and that's such a good point because you know what? Every day I would get somebody, like, messaging me or whatever, and, I mean, people come out of the woodwork, right? And I think
Right.
that's when you start to know, like, who maybe you have some friends out there, so maybe some real friends out there who you never really thought of as, like, real friends or real supports, you know? I mean,
Mhm.
I had tons of those, I had a colleague that I worked with and I never really truly like I guess I didn't know that she was my friend, you know?
Mhm.
And then she just came over. She's like, "I'm coming over and my mom's coming over and we're making you dinner." And I was like, "What the fuck?" You know? And yes, I was so grateful though. And then, now I know she's my friend, right?
Mhm.
There's no fucking doubt about it. Like she checks in with me all the time. And so I check in with her and try and reciprocate. And yeah, she is my friend. So I think too, like, you'll maybe find some new friends throughout this journey.
Yeah.
And also, you will find out who your friends are throughout this journey because I think friends give and receive, right?
Mhm.
It's a reciprocal thing. And so, at least that's my definition of friendship. But also, when you're asking, like, instead of asking, it's more of a demand, right? I'm coming over.
Mhm.
Let's make sure you're not busy, right? Like, you're not in the
Yeah.
middle of, like your little, sex night. Yeah. Like, let me make sure you're not, you're totally not, you know, unavailable, but yes. So I would totally agree with that, right? Like I had so many people. I'm part of an Eagles club. I don't know if anyone of you out there who knows what an Eagles club is, but I love the group. I'm just gonna give a shout out to the Eagles because, it's mostly like they do kid focused things. I play poker, they play poker, and the poker money a lot goes to like kids for Christmas. And so they take like over 200 kids Christmas shopping. Sorry, that was a free advertisement for the Eagles. Um, but yeah, so I would say there were so many people that offered things to us. And instead of feeling like a burden, my husband and I just burdened ourselves to power through it, right? And I mean, like we were both going through chemo and radiation together at the same time, and God, we would have loved some homemade meals, right?
Mm,
I mean,
yeah.
even though my husband couldn't eat half the time, but, I would have loved some homemade meals, and I would have made it last for a week, but I didn't wanna say, "Yes, please."
Mhm. I was lucky I had some friends that just said, "Hey, we're gonna drop some meals off for you," and they would
Yeah.
bring, 3 or 4 meals over, and here you go, and that was it. I mean,
Yeah, that's nice. I
w
mean, that's just like
yeah,
my one friend, and her name is Ashley. Like, yeah, she just brought it over. She was just like, "Yeah, I'm coming over. We're doing this," you know?
yeah.
And so, thank God for her. That was great, and yeah, I think you should just do for those people instead of asking because it's a lot for us to just, like, give in, and feel like,
Mhm.
yeah, there's that there. So, yeah,
Yeah, like, I would never tell somebody, like, when they say, "Let me know if I can do anything for you." "Well, yeah, why don't you
mhm.
go pick up a dog at daycare, bring me some dinner, clean my house?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Would never tell people that.
But I mean, fuck, sometimes that's what you need, right?
It's exactly what we needed.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can't go out, and, I can't vacuum, like in my current situation, like I can't do this, I can't do that, yeah, my house is a fucking mess. And I just had to like stop working so much, so I can't afford a cleaning lady, so yeah, that's exactly what we fucking need. And so don't ask, just do. If you're willing to do it, really, quite honestly, like for those people out there, if you're willing to do it, then just do it. Just say, "What's a time that's convenient for you? I'm coming over." And it's not a yes or no situation.
Yeah,
This is
I'm
and
coming.
sometimes you have to, and if they say, I don't know," and then you just go, "Okay, I'm coming over at 5:45 on Tuesday," and that's it. And then they'll be grateful and accept
Mhm.
that and they will be also have some relief and have some less stress.
Absolutely. Then I don't
Yeah.
have to pry myself off my couch, and
Exactly.
somebody
Yeah,
else will do it for me.
yeah, no shit. We were just talking about support group, like using cancer as your crutch. And I talked about that in my last live thing. And I will continue to talk about it, using cancer as your crutch and how much we now love our lazy boys.
I don't know how many naps I took on my couch.
Yeah, exactly. And there will be many more to take.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So
it
cool.
is
Well,
important. Just go out and help. Just help. If your friend's diagnosed with cancer, just, "I'm coming over. Here we go.
exactly.
We're gonna
And
do
I
this."
I had somebody else I was talking to. I it's at poker because that's pretty much where I spend my social life. You guys haven't noticed. And I was playing a poker game with somebody, and he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I had cancer," and oh, no, 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 it wasn't he had cancer. It was his friend had cancer, and he just kept on showing up, right? He would, like, show up and be like, "Hey, we're going fishing, and we're gonna do," 'cause he's like he was my fishing buddy, and when I would text him, he was just like, "Ah, blah, 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 blah," was not very responsive. And so he's like, "I just started showing up," like, "We're
Yeah.
doing dinner today. We're going fishing today." And and as his friend, he said, the guy with cancer said, "Thanks so much, dude. Like, none of my friends have showed up for this.
Mhm.
No one has showed up for this. They will every once in a while call me and say, 'How are you doing?' But no one showed up, right?
Yeah.
And you showed up." And this guy who was talking to me thought, "Well, I didn't even think I was like a really great friend for him. I knew I was his friend, but I didn't think I was a great friend. I thought he had many more, you know, people who'd be stronger, be better supports, or he had like a lot going on in his social life." But his buddy was just so grateful, and he said, "I learned a lot from that. Just how it is to show up for somebody, to show up for something, and it's you say that a lot, right? You say, "I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna give back to the community. I'm gonna I'm gonna be what I wish like what you see, whatever the hell it is that they put on Buddha shirts." like, be the change you wish to see, right? Yeah, but not everyone does it, right? And
Right.
so those questions often seem ingenuine, right? And I'm not saying that they are at all, right? Not at all.
Right.
Yeah, but most, I think Shannon and I could say that they're not gonna be really accepted very often, I think, unless you have somebody who's just that kind of person, right? Because I think Shannon and I are both very strong, independent women, and,
100%.
yeah, yeah, and so we're not gonna accept that, right? We're gonna be like, "Thanks," and wish we would have said. I think on so many days, I wish I would have said, "Yeah, please
Mm,
bring me a meal tomorrow."
yeah.
Yeah. Please come clean my house. Like, please. Like, it's a fucking mess and I hate to see it. Please come clean my house, you know?
Yeah. I don't have the
And
energy to clean it
yeah,
some
I wish I
days.
would have said that. I mean, it's so many times. And I did have a friend come up and show up at chemo, and just sat there and kept me company, and yes, yes, please show up at chemo if you want to, you know?
Mhm.
Like, sometimes they even give you free lunch, you know? Like, show up there. Yeah, I mean, like,
Show
what
up,
am I doing? I'm just sitting there. I mean, I'm not going through chemo anymore, but, like, I'm just sitting there, right? Like,
right? Just sitting
getting
there
juice,
watching
getting
something.
chemicals pumped into me, just dying a little bit inside. And, yeah, so please, yeah, show up and we'll just, like, shoot the shit. But I also think, I don't know if you agree with me, Shannon, but I don't wanna sit there and talk about me. I wanna talk about, like, what the fuck else is going on in life, right?
Right, like,
What do you think?
"Hey, what do we gotta do?" And, yeah, it's just having somebody there with you is even if I'm not talking, we could be watching, I don't know, Ted Lasso or something, but it's just having
Exactly.
somebody there.
Yeah. Yep. We have yeah, so, by the way, some of the chemo rooms, we can get some TV and shit going on, but yeah, it's not that bad.
If you get the private room, those are the best.
Oh, yeah, I got one of those the other day for my infusion. I was like, "Hell to the yes," watching Law& and Order.
I had it for my chemo, I had it 5 out of the 6 times I had chemo,
Oh,
and it was
wow.
always the same room. Everyone's like, "How do you continue to get this?" I'm like, "I
You're
don't know,
the
I
lucky
guess just
ducky.
lucky." And then when I started my targeted chemo infusions, I was always out in the big area, but I had COVID over the summer, and so, of course, they put you in that little room and, like, seal you in, and nobody wants to take care of you because they don't want COVID.
Yeah.
But, yeah, those
Yeah,
little
for
rooms,
sure.
those are the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So Stephanie and I go to the same hospital, and we happen to have, like, a new facility, and it's pretty cush, you know?
It's
It's
pretty
pretty
nice.
nice. Yeah, they got some massage chairs and stuff going on, and, yeah.
Heated seats, I love the heated seats.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Heated blankets and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cush. Alright, well, it is 5:30, folks, and I am so happy that you jumped on. I was gonna give you my phone number so we could go have a beer. Yeah, so but I'm not gonna give it to you right now. But,
No, just,
anyway.
find me on Facebook.
Okay, cool. Will do. And so, yeah. Anyways, over and out with Stephanie, and thanks so much for everyone. I am live on Tuesdays, 4:30 to 5:30 is what I decided. I did a 2-hour last time. It was just too long for me, and so, yeah, I just wanna do 4:30 to 5:30, and that gives some people some time, like, on the Eastern Coast and, Western Coast. We're in the West. Yeah, Central Coast to chime in, and thanks so much for being here, everyone, and I usually try and leave it with a joke. You happen to have a joke, Stephanie? Like a dad joke? Like,
Oh,
any
god,
kind of joke?
I always have dad jokes, and now I can't think of one.
You get put under pressure.
On the spot. No, I got nothing.
You got nothing. Okay, well, the got nothing. Well,
I'll be more prepared in the future.
I currently have a foster kid living with me, and I got her a cell phone yesterday, and so she's texting me, and, like, because now she's fucking texting, she's blowing up everyone, right? Oh, wait, but first I'm gonna finish it, and then I got a joke with IDOC, but because somebody else is chatting me. But so anyway, she's blowing up my phone. I'm at the, like, recording something, and she's like, "Guess what?" And I just memed her a chicken butt, a picture of a chicken butt, because I knew that's what the phone was coming up, right? And she was like, "Oh my god, you got me," you know? Alright, so I have another person who's chatting with me, and his joke is okay, so he says, "What did the shoe say to the pants?"
What did the
"What's up, britches?" Because you guys, I don't know if you were here for my intro, but I'm like, "What's up, bitches?" That's
Uh,
like my endearing, term welcome term. So I love that one.
I have a coaster that says something like that. So like it's like whatever bitches and the bitches whatever.
Perfect. All right. Thanks so much. Please tune in next Tuesday, but I'll also be publishing something new every week. Like, I have a couple guys with prostate cancer, one being my brother, and I'm going to chime in. We're going to do some podcasts. And then I do Tuesday live shows for everyone. Like I said, I kind of like it to be a virtual support group, but for everyone, like everyone involved, because the world is engulfed with cancer, right? So we're all dealing with cancer, right? We're all going through some sort of cancer journey. And so, I mean, I truly believe that, right? And if not, maybe you will be going through it in the future. And so this is not something bad to listen to. And then, yeah, so and then I'll post something. And then I also have another person who I just think is a wonderful human being. And she's going to talk about her family's life with cancer, 4 family members with cancer, I believe, and how that impacted her. But also more importantly, I'm interested as a mom of a 4-year-old and knowing that so many people in her life have had cancer. I'm interested in knowing how she approaches raising her child. Does she change her diet? Does she change, like, what's she gonna do for her kid to prevent cancer? Because, like, there's a lot of hubbub out there, like, is it your diet? Is it your stress? Is it your whatever, you know? So, yeah, that's next. Alright. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Ida.
Yeah.
Alright, good night.